Kaiju no Kami here with
Cruellica Kain.
Silver Quill.
And we're going to do something different. We're going to talk about Kamen Rider Kuuga, episodes 1 to 6, because we just watched them because it was their first time seeing them.
And you never forget your first time.
I was about to say that.
Well, that must be why Godai loves that cop.
Okay, so this is our special retrospective where we're going to talk about classic Kamen Rider, because I should start off this review by saying I've been begging Kaiju for probably about 3 years now to let... No, for a while. It's been a while.
For a couple months.
It feels like it's been so much longer.
Yeah, that's 2020.
But nevertheless...
We did just go through the COVID century.
I've been bugging him saying, we need to watch Kamen Rider. We need to watch Kamen Rider. We need to watch Kamen Rider. And he's finally watched a Kamen Rider series. And
now we're on multiple Kamen Rider series.
Now we're going on to Kamen Rider Series 4. I wanted Kamen Rider because I wanted to watch one particular series. However, I am now watching everything. What the hell?
Remember, when I go in, I go in.
Yes, that's why we've been together for 20 years, because you're like a leech. You just grab on and never let go. Ow! Okay, so...
Can I get some popcorn for this before you really start in? I mean, if you're really going to go into this, let's make it full Jerry.
Anyway, so I really love Kuuga. It's not in my...
No! He's talked about this for years.
It's not one of my... It's not in my top 5. It would be in my top 10, but it's not in my top 5.
The way you talk about it, it might as well be in your top 5.
No. There's still Black, Blade, Double, Agito, Gaim.
Okay, continue.
But anyway, I really like this show. So I wanted to see what your thoughts are, given that 1, this is the first Kamen Rider series you're watching that doesn't have toy-plosions in the first few episodes. 2, it's more serious and has a darker tone. And the villains actually are threatening and kill people. And it doesn't treat cops like morons.
No, instead it treats them like blood banks.
No, I was gonna say, moron, no. Are they treated better than the general population? Yeah.
But okay, what are your thoughts?
So, Kamen Rider Moocher.
I love it.
This dude freeloads off everybody.
Oh my god, I know.
Off everybody?
Everybody.
I mean, he works at a job where he doesn't really work, and apparently sleeps in the owner's guest bedroom, or maybe the main bedroom.
Well, that's his dad.
That's his dad?
Yeah.
The way he talks about him, he doesn't talk like it's his kid.
Because remember, he says, is there any way I could trade in my son for someone else?
Is that what he said? This kid? I thought he said just this kid.
Yeah, he just said this kid.
Well, because his son.
Well, he never once said son.
Okay, maybe I'm getting the things mixed up.
I definitely don't recall a familiar relation. Just that this guy, well, the pal, Pole, he doesn't shut up.
That's an understatement.
But you know what this means, right? Ichijo has met his parent. Another step in their relationship. Okay, but anyway, onward with Kamen Rider Moocher. So, works at a job but doesn't really. Sleeps wherever he can find, including a restaurant, for 11 hours.
And I'm a little concerned because if for some reason he was not sleeping at that restaurant for 11 hours, how the hell did he get there?
She carried him on her...
Sakurako should not be... But then again, he seems like he walks around in a daze, too.
He trespasses into her home, and apparently that's like his main entry point. He's kind of like Superman, doesn't believe in doors.
Hey, at least he's not like the Kool-Aid man busting through the walls.
Oh, yeah. He literally bums a ride off the police. Twice. And in the last episode I saw, his weapon is technically public property. So, egad.
Well, his bike is technically truly public property.
Well, that's government property, is the police. But regardless, this guy is freeloading in ways I think other Kamen Riders could learn. You could have a Kamen Rider support system, a stimulus pack for riders.
So, for me, I love Kamen Rider Moocher because that's kind of the path I was going with him as well. So he has business cards that say visual dreamer. Or
freelance dreamer.
Freelance dreamer.
Dream chaser.
Or dream chaser. And I'm like, are you high? Because that's, one, not a profession. And two, if that is a profession, why in all the years I've worked in human resources, why in all the years I've worked in human resources was I not told about this being an option?
You realize now I'm going to print business cards for you. Cruellica Kain, professional dream crusher.
I love it.
Okay. Professional dream chaser, why can't that be considered an actual job? I mean, we've got YouTubers are an actual job these days. We've got politicians as an actual job.
Because... Alright.
Random internet people can be professional doctors now.
Hey.
WebMD.
Oh dear.
Okay, so...
And all the COVID experts.
Coming back to the whole... I've hired thousands of people over the last, oh my god, 20 years. So...
You're old.
I can honestly say, Dream Chaser and many other professions very similar to that, if I saw that on a resume or a business card, I would run away. You're not getting divorced for me anytime soon. I hate to break it to you. Nevertheless...
Yeah, Dream Crusher indeed.
Yep, them business cards are coming now.
But also, along with that, I don't know if he's just so damn easygoing, but he basically sees a belt on the ground, has a vision, once again I still think he's high, and says, I'm going to try this on. It then burns his skin, and he's like, okay bro, next day. He then also, later on in the episodes, not the same episode, but later on, he goes to a doctor with his guy lover, Ichijo. And he gets an MRI. The doctor is like, yeah, there's some concerns here. He's like, oh, that's cool. So I can become basically superhuman. Once again, he's high.
I don't see anything wrong with the way he's acting.
He is high. And if you don't understand, he is high.
Yes, he's high on life.
Okay, there is high on life, and then there's legalized pot. And I swear he is smoking Mary Jane.
Actually, there's high, and then there's ground control.
Does Spider-Man know? Does Spider-Man know this?
Marijuana is Mary Jane.
No wonder there's that song.
You were supposed to say, well, he did fight Spider-Man in the first two episodes.
I was ignoring because I'm not giving in to your tyranny because apparently I'm now a professional dream crusher.
Yeah,
Yes.
So we got to search the web for that one. But honestly, I find that his easygoing nature is probably his greatest appeal. But I think he's very uncomplicated so that everyone around him can be. You have the police officer who's very stern and saying, get serious, I'm the police officer I choose to defend. And then trying to also be Kuuga's proponent in the joint force. So that guy's going through a pretty quick arc. Or, no, not quick, rapid fire. Then there's Sakurako. she really doesn't get to do a lot in the first, I'd say, 4 episodes. But in the later 2 that we saw, she goes through her own struggle of where she is. These characters can be questioning and unsure and trying to figure themselves because the lead character is, boom, he knows the course and he just does it.
I will say, compared to Gwen Stacy, he could survive a fall so much easier.
Well, that's because he's always falling for his cop friend. Like, I'm sorry, that's the other thing of this Kamen Rider guy love.
Okay, and if you don't know the song, if you don't know the term guy love, it is from the series Scrubs. Which, if you don't know Scrubs, shame on you!
Good on you.
I will vote that you should watch it.
I do too. And it's on Hulu.
Or there's like a ton of clips on YouTube itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yes, do a search for Scrubs Guy Love. Don't click on any paid promotions. I can't promise what will happen after that. But the song is fantastic. And it fits this show to a T.
It really does. Because there's one point, he even says, because he's talking to Sakurako, because he's on the phone with Ichijo, and he hangs up and he looks at her and he's like, I have a date. And I love free love. I think it's awesome. But it's so funny because with his such easygoing attitude, his relationship with Ichijo, it's like, it's so easy for them to be a couple because we're shipping it, because there's just no effort. Like, he saves him, and then he lays him against him.
Nestle
so
upon
when
my
the
bosom.
dude wakes up, Ichijo's like, why am I leaning against you? No answer! And I'm like, okay, there are levels of, like, concern here. But it's so adorable and hilarious at the same time because you probably know something about Japan if you're watching our channel because you're weeaboos like us. But Japan is kind of very conservative when it comes to...
Which is kind of weird considering how many boys love animes there are.
Hey, don't screw with my Fujoshi love.
I'm still getting over when I had to buy you that one DVD. You know the one I'm talking about. I still have a photo on my phone of me making the face holding this.
Is that the free one?
Yes.
Free. Which there's a new season coming out soon.
I know, I'm so excited.
Oh, suddenly I hear a call from Mexico. Excuse me.
But overall, I will say that Kuuga is great. My biggest flaw with it is really the same argument I have with Black. My first Kamen Rider series that I have ever watched was Ryuki. And very early on in Ryuki, you have 2 riders.
Very early on. It's the first episode.
Well, that's what I mean. You start the series and there's 2 riders. And then every consecutive series that I've watched afterwards has had multiple riders. So for me, I've been trained in the Kamen Rider realm. Well, they're not the same as Sentai where they have like a literal team. There are additional riders that either work for the same objective or are there to either support or hinder the progression of the story. And so the frustration I had with Black is the same frustration I do have here, is that you have a solo rider, and while Ichijo has been a great counterpart, Sakurako hasn't really helped. And so I don't feel like the team surrounding Kuuga has been as strong, which is the same flaw I've had for Black, is I just don't feel like the team really helped, in my opinion. I know Black is like the best Kamen Rider series in the known universe.
No, Blade is the best.
What, nevertheless.
Black is number 2.
But nevertheless, that's the hard thing for me to get used to, because I personally enjoy having that counterbalance between two different writers. Even if they're not the best of friends, there's still somebody that you can kind of play off of in a way.
If you want not best of friends, I think it was Fies and his counterpart writer.
Oh yeah, with Kaiser.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, being quasi-serious now, which is as serious as I can get. Kaiju has it right that I mostly know Kamen Rider through its toyetic phases. The first one I saw start to finish was Wizard. And we went with the progression of most of the Kamen Riders. And then Blade is the only other series I've seen start to finish. Still need to complete double.
Yeah, because Blade right now is your oldest completed Kamen Rider series.
It is.
And hopefully soon, Kuuga will be your oldest.
So Kuuga is a bit of an oddball for me because there's one rider belt. The transformation sequences, granted I've only seen red to blue, but it just happens. There's no posing, there's no loud announcer, there's no stop the fight to profess this new toy. And don't get me wrong, I've got rider belts at home. I've bought the gimmicks. I have fun with it. I think I started our unofficial arms race.
Yes, because you started with Wizard, and I automatically jumped into getting everything for Beast.
Yes. So, it's curious to see a single rider who has a transformation belt and a pretty immediate form shift. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say the series is a slow burn at the start. Maybe because they're not trying to introduce 50 alternate forms in 5 episodes, that they take time to, okay, here's his first transformation, here's his true transformation, here's how he gets his bike, here's him having a goddamn long fight with the bike going over terrain, and that one took my patience a little. And then, rather late in the opening of the series, I'd say, his first form shift. Mm-hmm. And it's more just, oh, hey, I'm blue now. Da-boo-dee, da-boo-die, da-boo-dee, da-boo-die. But, oh yes, the motorbike mooched off the police. Second bike he mooched off the police. However, I appreciate the skill demonstrated in moving that bike over the terrain. That's not something you can just do willy-nilly. It's great control. From an audience perspective, however, it was probably the slowest fight of the openings episodes.
It was, but I really love it because of the bike stunts aspect.
I can appreciate the technicality, but not so much the spectacle. Monsters I really like, except when they need to, do a little scaping.
Yeah, a little manscaping. That's all I ask.
I thought it's cute. It's not manscaping. I don't know if you're using that term correctly.
I have watched a lot of drag queens, and they have talked about manscaping in all different areas.
Anyway, that fight was a close shave.
But yes, the Grongi, I really like. I also love how simplistic the Grongi designs look.
I feel triggered by how they're treating the Grongi, or how they're treating it like villains. So I'm not really demonstrating it right now, but most of my formative years, and then a lot thereafter, I've been a goth. The only reason I'm not really a goth now is because I was told I'm like a goth funeral director. So I tried to add more color, and sadly it's failing.
I think you look nice in this shirt.
Thank you. I actually like this because it's colorful, but it's weird because I'm goth and I don't like color. But okay, nevertheless, all of the Grongi are goths.
And they look like 90s goths.
And they do. So it kind of reminds me of my childhood, because you had the vinyl pants, you have the weird artwork on their face where it's not tattoos, but it's makeup, so there's so much drama in it. But I'm like, dude, I remember living in the 90s getting so much flack for looking like a goth because everything has portrayed in the 90s and early 2000s that goths are evil. So I am triggered by this because it is screwing with my childhood memories.
And coincidentally, it's night out, so she's triggered with a Luna.
But no, I actually do like the designs. The one leader, or that she has the red boa.
The Rose.
The key lieutenant.
The Rose
Yes.
Grungy.
I actually really like her presentation because you can tell she has all the power, but and obviously you know more because you know the series, but from first impressions, I like how threatening she is, because usually when they try to make a character threatening, it's usually a male character. Very rarely do they make a female, especially in Japanese series, be the threat, so to speak. So I actually really appreciated that because it's different. Because even consecutive Rider series, you really don't get too many female, like true female antagonists until, at least for my perspective, really until you get to Kain. Because all the other female characters, they were kind of a counterpart to either the hero or the villain. And while you could say that for Kain, for the
what about the Blade? With with a few of the undeads.
Yeah, but they weren't like long-term characters. They had periods of time, but they weren't like permanent extensions. Kain is the first series that I remember where and I think she was the lemon, right? Cherry Rider.
Oh dear.
She was there pretty much from, like, I would say a little before halfway, and was there the rest of the series. So that was the first time that you had a true female antagonist, unless you count also in Kain the monster who had Kaiba's voice.
The Red Dew.
So, but it's been more recent that you've had that. So it's nice to see that even in the early 2000s. God, I feel so old saying early 2000s was such a long time ago.
2000.
It's so sad.
Well, okay, I can make you feel sadder. One, to call a female Kamen Rider Cherry, I feel like that scene from Dragon Ball Bridge. Hey, Cherry, what's your name? And it's like, oh, I feel weird. But I can also do even worse with the goth. Because I see all this black lipstick and drawings on their faces. I am not goth, even though I'm the one wearing the darkest shirt.
I know, right?
But I was thinking of the Doctor Who awful episode, Orphan something, where they go to the resort world.
55?
Orphan 55. With that awful cat makeup on the one lady. That's what's reminding me. So I'm being reminded of a much, much worse episode than anything I could critique. And that's not to say Kuuga is bad. I'm just saying that I'm having a very bad association. So that's what I think when I see these folks. Plus, you are a goth, but I don't see you pulling off as many chains as that one handstand dude.
Okay, I didn't have a ton of chains. Well, I did get the dog chains because back in the mid-90s, around 96, 97, that was the thing to do. Don't know why anymore, but that was a thing because you have the chain attached to your outfit that was attached to your wallet. Because,
that thing.
Because apparently that was the thing.
That was Squall's thing in Final Fantasy VIII. This is the alternate life I live. So I am so damn white, I'm only associating this through a video game.
So
fashion is clearly lost on me.
I like how they slowly bring the Grongi together.
Well, I like how their calling card is a rose petal.
And why then is there not their theme song? I've been kissed by a rose on the grave.
And then, but yeah, I love how they slowly build them up. And when they finally do that, they, like when we get the two bikers come in thinking, oh, we're cool. And then the cheetah Grongi?
Yeah.
The cheetah one just slaughters one of them. Like, when she just, like, shoots the guy into the ceiling and he comes tumbling down.
Okay, my only concern I have to say right now is I am a little afraid of how this is going to fit into, what, a 50-episode series?
It is.
So a 50-episode series, because they don't have Monsters of the Week, so to speak. They have these Grongi that are taking that place, but they're part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern is, how quickly are we going to shuffle through
no,
them?
there's more of them. That's only a small portion of the Grongi.
Okay, that's where I was a little concerned, because I'm like, if we get through them, thinking of another series we just watched, in the first quarter of the show, where the hell are we going from here?
There's more Grongis. It's just right now this is the small group that is gathered together.
Okay, no, that makes sense then, because I was just a little concerned about it.
Because the tattoo Grongi, she's actually the one that had the little figure. She's all draped in white. She's one of the big bosses of the Grongis.
Now, I will say, I hope Jean turns out to be evil.
Because the English...
Oh, him.
I hope he turns out to be evil, because he came in at the randomest time. And usually when you have a character coming at the random times, I've seen you movies. I've seen how you play with people. You bring in this random character that's out of place, and he becomes evil. So I'm watching you, Jean.
He also has the hair for it.
So,
exactly!
what would be your favorite fight of right now, of the fights we've seen?
I can't tell you a fight, but I can tell you my favorite scene of what we watched. Look over there!
And all the cops accept each look, and each goes like, nope!
The budget department should thank him, because all those cops just got a pay cut.
I was like, okay, so RuPaul's Drag Race, they had a political theme going on for one episode, and they had Jeff Goldblum on the show, which was hilarious. Nevertheless, one of the drag queens, her name is Jada Essence Hall, did that. And everybody did the exact same thing as in this particular scene. Is she's like, look over there. And everybody, I don't know what it is. It's like saying, for the greater good.
The greater good.
That everybody just did it. And
okay,
I'm
fine.
like,
Test. DuckTales.
woo.
Do you have a favorite fight? Or a favorite scene?
Well, okay. A favorite scene, I will admit that was pretty funny, the whole, hey, look over there. Honestly, favorite scene is probably as they're leaving Pol Pol and Ichijo corrects the pronunciation of this alternate Mount Everest. It was like, wow, you were paying attention!
No, I love it when he actually called him looking for Godai one time, and he's like, no, I really don't have time for stories about adventures. And I'm like, dude, this guy is like obsessed about telling his BS stories about apparent experiences he has had.
Okay, so there's my enjoyment of that. There was this scene where, I guess this is also Kamen Rider Call Waiting, because when Sakurako, I feel like I'm talking about some sort of boxing match. Sakurako robots. She's calling, and the answer she says, this person is driving. And I blurted aloud, why is that not a real thing?
That was awesome.
But my favorite fight is the first fight against the Grasshopper, as it relies a lot on editing to imply motion. And it was actually pretty brutal. You kind of like, as he's like grinding his heel into Kuga's arm. Or the hits, I mean, Kuga fell from rooftops like 3 times. But there was also a scene where they're jumping around, and this is early 2000 CG, and yet still better than Zenkai.
I know!
So,
sorry.
No, he's not done yet.
So they're jumping around, and then they land, and like, that's the same roof! You jumped across several buildings to land on an identical building with an identical roof, I call shenanigans. I believe in Japan's rooftop diversity.
My favorite fight is first off in the church when the church is burning.
Ah, yes.
With the bat, because that is just such cool scenery.
Blasphemy.
And then when he fights the spider and the bat inside that amusement park, like abandoned amusement park, because one thing I love about this is all the fights have this atmosphere to them. Mm-hmm. Even the ones in the daytime, there's something there that gives it some atmosphere that you don't see a lot in more of the modern series.
I would say the one really cool thing I like about it that I've seen in all of the fights that I really do appreciate is when he's transforming. It's not an all-in-one transformation. He punches, his arm transforms. He kicks, his leg transforms. He falls back and nearly busts his head open. His head transforms. And I'm like, that is awesome.
Granted, the transformation looks a little wonky, but again, early 2000s.
Still better than Zenkaiger.
Still better than Zenkaiger. But to be honest, with the spider and the bat, should also compliment. I think the monster designs are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Except for their loincloths. That's just so weird.
Well, they're just proprietary.
Well, they're meant because they're ancient creatures.
No, I understand the reason.
Because even if you remember the 2 episodes of Agito we watched last night, even they had.
Well, they look like diapers. That's my problem.
Or sumo. There you go. But when the spider just sort of showed up and they just started fighting, it was like, wow, that actually feels a little anticlimactic. That he's just, hi, I'm here. And he doesn't talk until he's saying, I will kill you. Oh, wait, I'm dead.
Oh, the other thing I like, though, also, episode 1, the stunts on the helicopter.
Okay, I'm sorry, the helicopter graphics.
That was so... Like, some of the stunts were good, but the CGI was so bad.
Yeah, but...
I'm like...
No, I understand the stunts on the helicopter worked, but we're kind of distracted by... I think I could animate that in one of my videos. And
you could animate it better.
Yes, but that was, again, 2000.
Now, I get like an SNES chopper scene, maybe from Contra, and just have that, and like everyone's just bouncing around as it's hovering in place and the landscape is going by.
All I thought of was kind of like, alright, Birdemic is a more recent movie, but it still had 90s. I was like, wow.
They portrayed eagles attacking as seagulls and animated GIFs, whatever you want to call them. And I'm just like, still better than Zenkaiger.
But, alright, so, let's see, anything else?
Admittedly, I'm looking forward to watching more. I know it'll be a couple of weeks because Mr. Silver Quill is going to his first convention.
I'm all Twitter baited.
In the first time in like a year and a half. So.
Since COVID hit.
Oh, dear. Yes, as human malware hit the scene. I got to go to one convention in February,
which was the only convention in our entire group that someone got to go to.
Yeah, in some ways I really lucked out.
So you got to go to the last convention over us, and now you're the first one to go to a convention over us.
I am the bookend!
But I will say it was great, but we'll be having a couple week break before getting back to it.
Let us know if you want to see more thoughts on Kamen Rider Kuuga despite it being a 21-year-old show.
Or
don't say 20. I'm only 27. So don't say 21-year-old show.
Or if you like, we can do a special promo. How to mooch with Kamen Rider Kuuga.
Or Kamen Rider Call Waiting, or Kamen Rider Guy Love.
How about Kamen Rider always climbing up to the second story window?
Kamen Rider breaking and entering.
Hey, Godai, I haven't seen you up there in several years.
Yeah, but that was the Pole owner, wasn't it?
No, that was a random neighbor.
I thought they were introducing him.
No,
there.
He was a random neighbor just saying, hey, I haven't seen you up there in a while. I'm like, there are such things, they even drew one in Beetlejuice. It was kind of impressive. You just take 3 lines going down to the floor, and then you draw a door handle.
Well, remember, he had lost his keys because he lost the keys with the bike.
Apparently, he knows how to break and enter. I think he could figure out how to jimmy a lock.
Well, if he didn't have his credit card with him.
Also, who's Jimmy? But anyway, I enjoyed this introduction. A slow build, which I guess is what I'm not used to, as most Kamen Riders I've seen really hit the ground running.
Where they give you 6 episodes worth of content in one episode.
6 episodes and 50 to-buy items.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the problem with more modern Kamen Rider. We're going broke, keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak.
I think right now you two have the larger arsenal.
With your help, thank you.
My help.
And because we have Chris Lidge's entire build collection in there.
Well, there's that too. You got to build up to it. But when I get my hand on the lock seat expansion for the gun belt with Durian, you're gonna see me and go, bravo, bravo.
On that note,
dangerous.
click like, click subscribe, click the bell notification, click whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. You can check us out at Kaiju no Kami on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and the website creativitybydesign.llc.com.
And if you like Silver Quill, which you should, you can check him out on
They
Facebook.
can check him
Twitter.
out.
Check me out.
Twitter at Silver Quill.
MLP Silver Quill.
And then YouTube at
TGC Silver. Also do a search for After the Fact or Silver Quill, and I'll likely pop up. So I hope you give my videos a watch.
And he's got a Garo video.
And I've got a Garo video.
Well, you did a Silver Quill Kyuoger as well.
I had him transform for an episode called Power Ponies.
Yes.
Right. You know what I love about that? I still remember. I had meant to write infinity on the battery charge, but everyone thought I was transforming using Ovirapu. I am powered by farts.
And on that note, until next time, bye.